Here is something nobody tells you before an FP&A interview. The person sitting across from you has already made a rough decision about you before even you have answered a single technical question. Not based on your resume, but based on something else entirely. I have been on both the sides of the table. I have hired FP&A professionals and trained more than 12,000 of them across 100 plus countries to FP&A Professionals Institute. The technical questions do matter, but they are rarely what separates the offer from the rejection. Most candidates prepare by drilling definitions, formulas, and technical frameworks. That preparation is necessary, but it is not sufficient because the interviewer is also evaluating something most candidates never consciously prepare for, and it is the thing that trips that decision. In this video, I am going to walk you through the 4 things FP&A interviewers are really evaluating, straight from my book From Accounting to FP&A. 4 qualities. For each one of them, I will tell you what it is, why interviewers care about it, and the specific things you can do to demonstrate it and not just claim it. Because saying that I am a positive person is very different from making the interviewer feel it. So if you have an FP&A interview coming up, or if you're planning to give one, this video might be the most important preparation that you do. So let's get into it. Let's start with the one thing that surprises people most because it sounds like a soft skill until you understand why it matters so much in FP&A specifically. FP&A is a high pressure function, tight deadlines, month end crunch, competing stakeholder demands. Forecasts get challenged in real time. Interviewers know this, and when they are evaluating candidates, one of the things they are quietly asking themselves is how will this person show up when things get hard? A candidate with high energy and a positive attitude signals something specific. They'll handle the stress without letting it damage their quality of work or the morale of the team. That is not a soft skill. That is a functional requirement for FP&A. Here are the 3 things that you could do immediately to show this in the interview. First is the volume. Speak slightly louder than your natural conversation level. Imagine that you have an energy dial and then tune it up 1 or 2 levels. Interviewers register energy subconsciously, and higher the energy reads, higher your confidence comes out. The second is tell more stories. Abstract enthusiasm means nothing. A specific story about a challenging moment where your attitude made a difference is an evidence. The third is the body language. Sit forward, make eye contact, nod when the interviewer is talking. These signals compound and they get noticed. Energy gets you noticed, but what do you do with the energy makes how genuinely interested you appear in the role and the company. That is what the second quality is about. There is a version of enthusiasm that interviewers see through immediately. The performed kind, where a candidate says that I am really passionate about FP&A with the same energy as reading a spy novel. That doesn't work. This is different. Interviewers look for enthusiasm because it is a leading indicator of 3 things that they care deeply about. The first is retention. An FP&A professional who genuinely wants to be there doesn't leave in 8 months. The second is initiative. People who are excited about their work seek out new projects, go beyond the job description, and add value in ways that aren't there in any job specifications. And finally, the third is development. Enthusiastic professionals keep learning, they read, attend events, pursue certifications, and bring in new ideas back to the team. Enthusiasm isn't a personality trait to the interviewer. It is a proxy for long term performance. Make it specific and not general. Generic enthusiasm is invisible, but specific enthusiasm is memorable. So, what should you be doing? Research the company before the interview, not just their about page, but their recent earnings call, their CFO's LinkedIn activity, and any important news that they have been in. Then reference it in the interview. For example, I read about your move into the South Asian market. Now, that foreign exchange exposure issues that creates is exactly the kind of scenario I am planning to work in. That one sentence demonstrates research, business acumen, and genuine interest simultaneously. And ask good questions. An enthusiastic candidate prepares 2 or 3 genuinely curious questions that show that they have thought about the role and not just whether they'll get it. Even with great energy and great enthusiasm, there is a third quality that determines whether the interviewer can actually see you thriving in their specific team. Cultural fit is the most misunderstood of the four qualities. A lot of candidates hear cultural fit and they think it means be likable, be agreeable, tell them what they want to hear, but that is not what it means. And getting it wrong in either direction can cost you the offer. Cultural fit is about shared values and the ways of working, not personality matching. Every company has a set of values that shapes how decisions get made, how people collaborate, how conflicts get resolved, and what good works look like in that company. Interviewers are evaluating whether your values and working style align with those of the company. An FP&A professional who thrives in a fast moving startup may struggle in a large corporate with structural approval processes, and the other way is also true. The interviewer is asking, will this person's natural way of operating accelerate the team or create friction? Two things you need to do here. First, do your research. Go to the company's website. Find out their mission, vision, and values. Find their CFO or finance director on LinkedIn. How do they talk about the function? Read their recent press releases. Identify two or three values that genuinely resonate with your own experience, and then be ready to connect them to your past work. Second, find the overlap between your values and the company's values and then write about it. In the interview, when you share experiences, anchor them in the values in the same language as the company uses. For example, at my previous company, I worked in a very collaborative, cross functional environment, which, from what I have read here, seems to mirror how your FP&A team operates. That one framing shows cultural awareness and not just self promotion. The cultural fit tells the interviewer that you will work well in their environment. Now, the fourth quality tells the interviewer that you will actually make the environment better. A quick note, if you want a structured, globally recognized path to build these exact skills, the CGFP certification by FP&A Professional Institute is designed specifically for professionals making this transition. Links are in the description. Coming back to the video, initiative and curiosity is the fourth quality. The last one is the quality that interviewers most want but least know how to ask for directly. So they probe for it indirectly, and most candidates miss what is happening here. Initiative in FP&A means taking charge before you are asked to, seeing a process that could be improved and then going and improving it, identifying a risk before anyone else flags it, volunteering for a project when the team is stretched. Interviewers can't observe this in an interview, so they look for evidence in your past work experience. The questions that probe for initiative usually sound like, tell me about a time where you went above and beyond in your previous role, or give me an example of something that you changed or improved without being asked for. Your answers to those questions are the data they use to predict your future behavior. Curiosity is different but equally important. FP&A is a function that never stops changing. Tools, data sources, business models, market conditions, regulatory environments. A professional who stops learning the day they qualify is a liability for the company in the next 5 years. Interviewers look for curiosity as a signal of longevity. Are you reading? Are you building new skills? Are you interested in the business beyond your own deliverables? The specific signals that they listen for are any certifications that you are pursuing, the content that you consume, the questions you are thinking about, the ideas you bring from outside of finance that you apply in your own work. For initiative, you need to prepare two or three specific stories where you took action without being prompted. Use the star structure, but make sure the A, which is the action, is clearly yours and not just of the team. For curiosity, mention that what you are currently learning, a certification in progress, a book that has changed how you think about finance, a tool you have been exploring. And in the interview itself, ask genuinely curious questions, not the standard ones like what does a typical day in FP&A look like, but the questions that showed you have thought about the business, the team, and the financial challenges they are actually facing. The quality of the questions itself demonstrates your curiosity, and it is the one that most candidates never deliver. Before I close, let me give you a simple interview preparation framework that makes sure that all of these four qualities come through on the day of the interview. It is divided into three stages: before the interview, during the interview, and after the interview. So, before the interview, make sure you research the company deeply enough to demonstrate specific enthusiasm and also cultural alignment, and not just generic interest. Know their numbers, their strategy, and their recent challenges. Prepare your star stories for initiative and know your curiosity narrative, what you are learning currently and why. During the interview, manage your energy consciously from the moment you walk in. Speak up with volume and conviction. Make the interviewer feel you are genuinely interested through specificity and not declarations. Ask two or three questions you prepared, the ones that show you have actually thought about their world and not just yours. After the interview, send a follow up note that references something specific from the conversation, not a template, a sentence that proves you were actually listening in the interview. These three stages are how you make all four of the qualities visible, and not just in what you say, but in how you show up from the first second to the last stage. So there you have it. All the four qualities: positive attitude and high energy, enthusiasm that is specific and not generic, cultural fit built on research and alignment, and initiative and curiosity that shows up in your stories, your questions, and your follow up. The technical preparation gets you to the interview, but these four things get you past the offer. Drop a comment below and tell me which one of these four is the hardest for you to demonstrate in an interview. And if you want a comprehensive FP&A roadmap and certification that makes the whole conversation easier, check out the CGFPA certification by FP&A Professional Institute. This is where serious FP&A professionals build it. Links are in the description, and I will see you in the next video.